well. All right, here's another question, kind of a difficult question. Is there, in fact, rampant homophobia in the African-American community, or is it, again, an issue that might be hyped by folks that are not members of the community? What's your take and your group's take?
It is not as rampant as we think. People are thinking that it is. Now, do we have issues in the African-American community? Oh, yes. And we're trying to have dialogues right now. We've also turned a corner here. So I am sitting in an intersection that is about to flip over. The African-American community are coming in droves and saying, let's talk about this. We want to welcome our sisters and brothers and transgender sisters and brothers into the community, into the church.
And you're hearing this dialogue develop within churches in the African-American community?
Oh, yes.
Can you name me some denominations that are particularly friendly or congenial to this view?
It's not going to be a denomination move swiftly on that. It's church by church, and that's the particular part of the African-American community that you have to look at. The bishops aren't ready to talk about that. So the AME church, the CME church, the Black Baptist Convention, they're not ready to talk about that. Some of their ministers are. And they're the ones that are talking and connecting with each other.
All right. Now we're at Georgetown University, and we are going to deputize you as Professor Payne.
Thank you.
We will hood and robe you. And Professor Payne, we're going to ask you to grade the Obama administration on a variety of issues that are of interest to the LGBT community. So I am known as a very tough grader. I just want you to know.
Oh, okay. All right.
Merciless. So just so you know. All right. Let's start this way. Gays in the military. What's the grade and why?
Oh, that would be a C minus.
C minus. You are tough. Tell us why.
I'm tough. The president is taking his time, and there's no timeline on it.
Okay.
So walking slow is
too slow, huh?
Too slow.
Too slow. Hate crime legislation.
That would be a B minus.
B minus. Okay.
B minus because we thought that it should have been passed or would have passed earlier. However, is now in the Senate, and they're talking, now about bringing it up pretty soon. And we've noticed that we've run into plugs of some of the people in the Senate that, are pushing back.
Gotcha. HIV/AIDS policy.
Oh, I would definitely give him an A.
A. Tell us why.
Because the funding is still there. And he's speaking up. One of the things that the president did that was really profound is that he took the AIDS test a long time ago. And he explained in the African-American community why this was so important. That was huge because we don't have a lot of leaders doing that in front of you.
And finally, same-sex marriage.
Oh, that's an F.
That's an F.
Yeah.
You flunked him on that one.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
We understand the president's stance, and he is speaking of civil unions and letting the states handle it. However, we know that if you had a president that would be positive about having same-sex marriage, then the conversation would definitely move forward.
Is there a disconnect between his banter on the campaign trail and what he's done since arriving in office?
Yeah, he's walking slow.
He's walking slow.
Yes.
Right. Are you hopeful about the next 3 years? Or
I am.
You're hopeful?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Because being African American and a lesbian, I see the way that the president will have to handle his presidency right now.
Now, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you. We kind of just want to know a little bit more about you. Where'd you grow up? Tell us about your family. Tell us about your life. Tell us what we'd all love to know, the good details.
Okay, the good details. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, in the Whitehaven area, right down the street from where Elvis Presley lived. With all that history, also I saw the bad things. My mother was a civil rights activist, and she was a teacher, but she was doing civil rights activism on the side. And my mother had me there on the night before Dr. King was murdered, and I got to hear him. It was phenomenal, and I still remember
How old were you?
His voice. I was 5.
You were 5 years old?
But I also remember the pain of when he was murdered. My mother, being an activist that she was, she went down there to the hotel. So I was in the midst of that chaos and the burning.
Oh my.
I knew that there had been a huge change in the world.
Before we close, What's one scripture that you always repeat to yourself on a daily basis as you remind yourself that you are loved by God and gay people are loved by God?
I don't know the specific, but I'll paraphrase it for you. There may be weeping during the night, but joy cometh in the morning.
Donna Payne, thank you so much for coming to Faith Complex.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.